Welcome to Sports Geek Throwback. Here's your host, the sports geek himself, Sean Callanan.
G'day, I'm Sean Callanan from Sports Geek, and welcome to Sports Geek Throwback, where I pick out the best bits from the Sports Geek podcast archive. For this week's Sports Geek Throwback, I go back to episode 78 with Vince Crivelli, published back in February 2015. Vince Crivelli was at the Melbourne United Basketball when the episode was recorded, and now Chief Operating Officer at National Basketball League. Remember, if you need help with your digital marketing or sponsorship teams, please get in touch. That is what we do in applying the digital to dollars process to help your team build revenue. In this throwback episode, Vince and I discuss the importance of reaching out to participants during a rebrand. Remember, you can listen to the full episode at sportsgeekhq.com/78.
You pointed out there the 13 franchises, so it's not new to the Melbourne market. We've seen teams come and go, and if you look back in what was the heyday when there was four teams in Melbourne running around, and then that was whittled down over time with mergers and things like that. So it's not uncommon in the basketball landscape in Melbourne, but it's always been a powerhouse from athletes and from basketballers coming from Melbourne. So there is a vibrant basketballing community that are out there playing. What are some of the things you've looked to do as part of the rebrand? United is the name to try to unite Melbourne. What have you tried? What are some of the things you've done from a program's point of view to reach out to the basketball community?
Good question. And like any brand, it is just that the people and the actions of the brand are what really determine, the success of it. So to that end, there's 250,000 Victorian families that participate in the sport of basketball. It's a good number. It's a great number. It's the number one participated sport across a calendar year, which is really important. The other codes call it soccer, AFL, or football as soccer is now known, but AFL, football, they're seasonal codes. Participation in our sport, just by nature of the governance structure at association level, requires it to be on an annual basis. And therefore, basketball is a very relevant sport, but it's also very convoluted because the top of the sport being the NBL or Basketball Australia, and in its time has always had trouble with the product as a consumer product. And so the pathway for young athletes is somewhat convoluted. There's a lot of third-party providers within the industry. And so as a fan or as a participant in the game, it can sometimes be a little bit daunting. It's quite a heavy calendar. There's a lot of people giving you lots of mixed messages. So some of the things that we've tried to do with our influence and being the only Melbourne team in the NBL is we've taken on a major sponsorship of Basketball Victoria, who are the governing body of participation in Victoria, something to the tune of $250,000 a year. Part of that money goes towards the actual development of coaches. Some of the biggest challenges that the community in basketball face is finding coaches that have got some credentials as opposed to just mum or dad who are willing to give up some time and go coach.
I don't know if my level one coaching is still valid. I did it many, many years ago, but I don't know if it's still valid. I probably would have to update it if I went back in the coaching ranks.
I suggest you do. But so part of it is to go and get some messaging into the community and some support in some of the growing regions around volunteer recruitment, the education of your coaches, and the risk management side of running an association. And we're doing that through providing some funds to Basketball Victoria that go towards those programs, which include hiring an individual to go out and just work with association development. So I think that's the first step that we've tried to do. Some of the other brand messaging that we've gone in with Melbourne United is around respectfully recognising the history of some of the failed franchises. And so at every game we have a past club that we honour. We have a little presentation that we do, probably happening sometime in the next 20 minutes, on the screens, and throughout the week through social media and websites we try to tell the story. There's a lot of great people that have been involved in basketball, to put it simply. Those people are now successful in business. Their stories in sport aren't told.
Yep.
We think they need to be told for the sport to actually go forward. The journey of, for the journey of somebody to belong to a sports club, the history of that sport or those, they're really, really important. And so no hero can exist if there's no villain. And so for, a city that had 4 teams, as you quite rightly said, 15,000 people, a very healthy economy coming to all those games, a lot of disenfranchised fans because their heroes are no longer there. So telling those stories again is also something that we think is really, really important in giving those people a platform to become role models back to that participation franchise.
If you like this Sports Geek Throwback episode, please check out the full episode at sportsgeekhq.com. Please share Sports Geek with your sports business colleagues. We appreciate you sharing. We love working with podcast listeners. Please get in touch so we can help your team. Go to sportsgeekhq.com/phone call. All Sports Geek episodes are available at sportsgeekhq.com and all podcast platforms.